do have a couple of rates that we we'll do it over Rob's. He's got it.
There you go.
We'll come to your, we'll get your grill. There you go. I'll bring him in.
I have a charcoal grill, not the one in the island, but I have a separate charcoal grill.
So we. You have a pool? I got. Your speeder.
And now we're recording, so let's stop it right there. Before I get this news. Good morning, everyone. I call to order the April 22nd meeting of the Madison County Board of Commissioners. My name is Chris Wallace. If everybody would please introduce themselves.
Tony Sinigas.
Brendan Shea.
Rob Sawyer.
David Bell.
Nick Atkins Ruskin.
Bill Sweeney, Sheriff.
On the mayor's assistant.
Amy Nuspa.
Good. Everybody should have received a copy of last week's meeting minutes.
We'll do it through the minutes.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any other discussion? From her, roll call please.
Mr. Shea?
Yes.
Dr. Sneakus?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yeah. Mr. Sheriff?
Good morning, everyone. Guys, want to enjoy the Easter weekend out of the office. Most of the week last week and making it a Friday, so I really didn't have anything to bring to your board this morning. You guys, enjoyed the weekend. Had anything to me this morning.
I don't. That was Key West.
It was, the most beautiful weather that I think I've had on vacation in a long time.
Very good.
I got to enjoy it for at least 3 days, so.
That's good. Glad to hear. Mr. Atkins?
Morning. I got a couple of things, but, as we discussed last week, I think they'll come off later in the meeting, so I got anything right now.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Moving right along. Mr. Cal?
You, when we go now, or do you want to wait? No, doesn't matter to me. I'm down lower. I got a few things to talk about, but I want them to.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, just an update real quick. Activity actually still remains strong in the county, from a, potential project perspective. We have, 2 groups looking at the building at, 42 and 29 pretty hard. We have, projects looking in West Jefferson, and then the 161 corridor continues to get attention. Right now, it's still a holding pattern, with the decision from Marysville. However, and that's just, this is my second, bullet down below. We are, learning that, we have currently in our overlay zoning, a height restriction of 35 feet. And you're getting some inquiries that show that that might be a little low. So the thought is that we would, because they could ask for a condition or a variance. Thank you. I was thinking, divergence or variance, but that is uncertainty, and a lot of these developers want certainty. So, we've talked to Holly, who put together the overlay zoning, and asked if she'd be willing to, help us with updating that zoning. She said she would be able to, she had a proposal in front of us, and up to $2,000 to make that, proposed amendment, and of course have to go through the proper processes to have it amended, but that would be I don't think there has to be a formal request approved since it's under 50,000 or whatever that threshold is now, but just wanted to bring that to your attention to see if you have any questions or comments on that. The pressure from Dublin and Plain City and other entities and along that border is pretty strong. So we want to make sure Douglas Township is as competitive as it can be when it comes to trying to win projects, to develop any board.
What's an ideal, I mean, what, 35 feet, what would be an ideal?
We've looked at comparables, anywhere from, the highest we've seen is 110. Seen 65. Sweet spot seems to be about 80. As kind of that max height before you have to ask for a variance. So with kind of pushback we've received from Marysville and other things going on, we're looking even at long term, that's kind of what's being discussed as a look at updating that zone.
What's Dublin's, height?
They are, I think, 65. And then I think 70, they have two different districts, 165, 170. So. That's what we're looking at, Plain City says it's not that much.
And this would just be for that corridor?
Correct, yes, and for that, it would not be for the entire county, correct,
And the $2,000 you're referring to, that's to,
that would be her cost.
that would be her
Enough
cost.
to, to make those changes since she's authored the overlay forecast out here.
Is she going to look at any other issues, or is she just singularly looking at that issue?
Looks like right on the height is kind of the main thing that's being brought up, yeah.
She does have hourly charge built into the agreement, so if we wanted to use her in other capacities, we could.
And this is not to take over from Darby for some of the other things they're doing, so it wouldn't, we wouldn't be bringing her on basically saying like Darby, it's just for this focus.
Yeah. And there's a pretty significant project at Stratton's that could be a pretty massive,
Right now,
Beneficial
it's
project.
yeah.
That's what I assumed it was regarding. Okay.
so before I signed off on that, I wanted to make sure you guys were okay with that.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with it, given the project inquiry that we had, yes.
Have been any thoughts or discussion among the trustees at all, or?
Well, this is really preliminary right now.
Yeah.
Just in the beginning stages of it. And I think there'll have to be more discussion that takes place. I think one thing for an area, that we'll have to talk about is, Pleasant Valley Fire District and how they would handle that height requirement difference. Right now, they would be at, I think, about 35 feet. That's why it's at that point. And how do we move forward with that?
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
And there is an NDA in place, so we can't really get into any details on the project, so.
Is that the primary reason for the fire district? I mean, is that the primary
That
reason
was- yeah.
the heights are selected?
When we were, correct, when we were putting together that overlay, we've been talking all interested parties. And that was one of the talking points was that. But also, again, if you look at competitiveness and the pressure we're feeling from particularly Dublin, it's, we gotta put up our best foot to try to compete.
And I think we could work that in, with an agreement, similar to what's been done in Jefferson Township, West Jeff, so.
Very good.
So that's it.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, appreciate it. Roberto?
Sir, I think this is on the agenda twice, but it's the Dell Seltzer building. What I did for you is, if you have this spreadsheet handy, this basically will show 2024, the current expenses of what the county commissioners have paid for. So within the last couple of years, we've paid almost $24,000 to the Dell Seltzer building. We've also paid an average of, say, about $2,000 a year in utilities for that building. And keep in mind, the Dell Seltzer is also, the back half is what the Ag Society rents out for events. The front half is Shoot Extension Office. So you're at $26,000 there. There at the bottom, this shows the estimate for expenses for 2025. A new roof of 70,000, that's about what we're averaging. The high end is 100,000. Ag Society has requested a new door, 3,500, painting and drywall, $5,000. Kitchen and hall flooring, a little over 6,000, a total of 85,000. So I've met with the trust a couple of times now. Their process is we put a proposal together and submit it in August. where they will make a determination how much they are going to pay and what they're gonna pay for. So it's kind of, we could wait and they could say, yeah, we'll cover this much. Then the county commissioners or somebody else is gonna have to make up the difference. I don't know if they'll pay this whole entire amount. So the other option is go forward with the projects and then request reimbursement after that. And we could request reimbursement of that 24,000 in that total number as well.
You said they make the determination in August.
August, yeah.
Is any of this pressing and needs to be done right now?
So Ag Society would really like to move forward with, the new door, the painting and the drywall and the kitchen and hall flooring. You guys, did some flooring for the, hallway and the OSU extension. And that vendor, to my understanding, kind of held back on that to wait to see if you were gonna move forward or they were gonna move forward with these other projects and they could just do it all at one time. So you may be reimbursed for it, you may not be reimbursed for it. There's no guarantee until the proposal goes before the trust and they make a determination on that. So the roof, you can see in those previous costs, we've patched that up, but it's only gonna get us so far, so it could wait till next year. But ideally, it would be better off done this year. And just, as far as funding goes, I can't say exactly where it's gonna come from and how much it's gonna come.
Yeah, and I think in our proposal, we certainly want to ask for the entire amount. I think it's a matter of, do we want to move forward with the other items prior to that proposal being submitted?
At one time, I thought, I could be wrong, my memory isn't the best, right? So, did we get like a 50,000 from the Dell at one time?
The last time I submitted a request was for the LED upgrades and that.
This was
like 10 grand.
This was years ago when we did some air conditioner work and.
That might have been before me.
Yeah.
The only thing I did work was the LED upgrades.
I mean, they have always given something.
Yeah. We've just been pretty selective of what we submit, knowing that eventually we were gonna have a big ticket item, which is the roof this year. I mean, they gave me a certain level of confidence that they would cover at least half. But they didn't make any guarantees either. So,
Half of the total estimate.
Yeah.
So our options are, we wait until they meet in August,
Mhm.
see what they do. Or proceed with the bottom three items. Is that, we're not considering the roof right now, right?
Yeah, or the roof, but however you wanna handle it.
Personally, I would do the bottom three and, and tell them that we did do that. Maybe they'll cover more of the 7. Maybe they'll put a contribution in, plus you're talking about the rest of it.
So am I submitting for reimbursement of all?
Yeah.
All costs? Go ahead and move forward with 3 and pay for that included in the proposal
That's
and,
what I would do.
and see what the total is with the roof on
Yeah.
reimbursement.
And the Ag Society has no.
Yeah.
Idea to pay for any of this?
I think, the county commissioners are the first asking point.
And I know Brian's doing a lot of work there too, right?
Are you being reimbursed for any of that, or is that?
It's from the
It's been a few years since we've done any infrastructure improvements in there, so.
Yeah, so it's interesting in this case is Bell Seltzer, they went out.
Well, that's my point. I mean, they rent it out, they make a profit, not like how much of a profit they make, but they make money from renting that space out. You think they could use some of those funds to cover repair costs?
And at one point in time, we talked about they would cover half and you guys would cover half and Not on the roof, but on like the doorways, the painting, the kitchen and that sort of thing. So
And offer him that.
Yeah, man, I would like to see them have some skin in the game.
Okay, sounds good. Next thing on the list is, discussion on the amended procurement policy. Work with Brian and Nick, back and forth on that policy. Having a discussion with county commissioners. I believe we got to keep the numbers the same. So I did, change those back to those original numbers. Made an adjustment on the, public posting and made a change for the new higher bid limit. Sent that over to Nick. Nick reviewed it. He's got a few comments.
Couple of comments and, maybe just some things to be clarified. The first though, you adjusted the notice requirement, essentially it removed publication, newspaper, journal circulation to putting it on the county website. But I just reviewed the statute and it specifically says it has to be the website and social media for the county. It has to be both if you're gonna do that option.
Okay.
So add that social media account. We talked about a number of exceptions to requiring quotes. One of those exceptions, was caught by the sheriff, later, after I had already submitted the proposals to you. And that's if the, purchase is through a collaborative agreement. Now, that's already in the policy for the exception to bidding. It's not in there for the exception to quotes. So I'd recommend you to add that in. Section as well. That would be number 8 for the exceptions. Final question I have, and I don't know if this is intentional or just a typing error, but the exceptions that were added to the requirement to get quotes fall under the category of 10K to the 77,000. And I guess my understanding before was we were modifying the 2,500 to the 10,000 for the requirements for quotes. Did you want to go all the way up to the 77,000? Because right now, the way it reads, from 2,500 to 10K, quotes are required. From 10K to 77, you know, they're not required if you hit the exceptions. So I think it's backwards.
I think
maybe
that's a
not.
typo.
Yeah, that's what I assumed. It just needs flipped then. My main concern there was that federal law requires quotes if you're using federal funds and the purpose is over 10K. So either we need to flip it or add in that caveat that if federal funds are being used, you still have to get quotes. I'm assuming, right, it's the 10Ks though. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
So other than that, I think we make those small changes and move forward.
So I'll make those small changes. If there's anything else, I'll bring that back on Tuesday for final approval. And then the next question will be as far as enforcement goes. Sticking to it and what would be the outcome if the policy is not being followed?
But withhold payment. I mean, we have a policy, we follow it.
Sounds good to me. Next, I would like to request executive session under OAC Rule 3358 17-1-04-2 to consider the purchase of property or to consider the sale of property by competitive bid if disclosure of the information would give competitive advantage to the other side by division of section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code.
G2, yeah. Rob, we talked, last week about discussing the two issues. Did you want to add that to your motion, add G to your motion? We discussed it all in executive session. It would be more convenient.
Okay.
I just recommend that you add, G3, which is council, discussing with council pending or imminent litigation.
So moved.
Second,
Move the first and a second. Any other discussion? None heard. Roll call, please.
Mr. Shea?
yes.
Dr. Sneakus?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Who's staying?
I mean, they can stay, they can stay, I mean, really, any of the county employees can stay.
Keep just fine.
Most of the ones that-
You can stay, Brian.
Look at you, was trying to set it off.
Sworn to secrecy.
Look at that, like the hiring, you got a good job.
Since started recording.
I stopped it and now it won't. Just. Thank you. I don't know what's going on. Everything's great.
She's recording it off of the house, so that's